something that these guys need to work on in this pro day, and then see how they evolve throughout the season.
Yeah, and perfect timing too. Bye week, you had the what do they call it? Prime time in the Palace or whatnot. They had the other night, and from what I've seen, it was actually pretty cool. It wasn't corny. I mean, you watch the clips of the slam dunk competition. There was some pretty impressive dunks going down. Billy Richmond, you know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of Antonio McDyess when he was at Alabama. His body frame, just how athletic he was. He is going to be one of those guys that, in a sense of what we kind of thought Trevor Brazile would be, just the force that he will be inside and scoring. I think Billy Richmond has the ability to become that player. I know Trevor Brazile was hindered by injuries and stuff. So I know he's on a lot of people's radar of being their fan favorite electric player. So with how the football team's going, all this could not come at a better time, because it really deflects people over to something positive to think about and to watch. Meanwhile, we don't know what's going to happen, what type of team. I haven't seen much out of practice or any kind of news since Bobby Petrino's taken over. So there's going to be a lot of questions heading into Saturday of what type of team we're going to get on Saturday.
Definitely. I mean, adding in, a couple of defensive staff members, there's still a lot of unknown with it. We got to see what a team with no coaches and coordinators does, like UCLA did to Penn State yesterday. So it's one of those that you hope that the 2 weeks with no games will give them time to prepare a little bit, or a lot. And maybe it's something that these guys just needed a kick in the pants. They needed maybe some new coaches to push them. And so that's all we can hope for. And, getting guys that have coached in the SEC, that have played in the SEC, that have coached in the NFL, this is something that could work out well. And by that, I just mean salvage a little bit when you've got, 7 games left.
Yeah. And courtesy of FanDuel, the Arkansas is a 13.5 point underdog, and the over under is 69.5. So I don't know, when you go the over under, they're expecting a high scoring game on both teams. So they have a lot of faith in Bobby Petrino. So we'll see what happens on Saturday. And I'm hoping that it is a 40, 30 point outing for Arkansas's offense, because we know that's what it's going to take. Who's going to get the most defensive stops? Again, we'll have All Bros here on in a few minutes for the second segment to break it down more, but it's going to be one of those things, Adam. This could be the second game in a row that the betting lines are putting a lot of faith in this Arkansas offense to score points, to stay there. And with it being on the road, this 14-point underdog role, they're making it seem like it's going to be a closer game, much like they did the Notre Dame game. I just don't know what's going to become of that, because you are moving to a base defense. You are simplifying things. Yes, you could give the offense a kick in the pants, and we know how he is with, they're using the tight ends a lot more, the running game. But until Arkansas does stuff in the second half, it's going to be hard for me to rock with them producing 40, 45 points against Tennessee.
At this point, it's tough to have high hopes, or at least it is for me. Seeing what we've seen, especially the past couple few games, it's been tough to watch. It's been tough to really grasp everything that's gone on. Having the second halves that we've had on offense, having the atrocious defense that we've had, it's one of those things that I feel like the 13, 14 point favor for Tennessee is almost a slap in the face to Tennessee. And maybe that's the way that they look at it. I don't understand why it's as close. I'm looking here at ESPN, and they've got their analytics at 82% for Tennessee, you know, right, almost 83%, 17% Arkansas. We know how those things go.
Yeah.
It's one of those that I feel like there's going to be revenge on the brain, especially for Josh Heupel. So this is something that we know Bobby Petrino loves playing Tennessee. So maybe he can have some Bobby Petrino magic that we've had in the past. This is just one that I don't want to get out of hand because, again, I mean, you're going to be in a stadium with over 100,000 people.
Yeah. And you still have Taylor Green with, out of the pocket with his legs. He's amazing. I want to see him be able to, and been preaching this from the beginning. I want to see him be more accurate on these throws. And the fact that, he's still looking down defenders, he's still kind of just throwing it up there, getting interceptions. I want to see more out of him. But to me, my biggest thing is this: I do not want to come into this, and I'm not getting on any fans for this, because I know y'all are just wanting something to hang on to. Nothing wrong with that at all. I don't want to be set up for disappointment, or like, okay, Bobby's back. He was sandbagging, when he was the OC. Now it's his job. Now he's the head coach. All is well. We're going to forget about the Notre Dame game and the other 2 losses, and we're going to go on a run. I'm really just don't want Arkansas fans to put too much in this if there is a loss, or even if you do lose by 21 points. I mean, you really have to do it one game at a time and see progress, and you can't automatically come into this thinking that they're going to win or bust, or they got to make a bowl game or bust. I want to see what happens with it, because too many times this team has dug themselves in a big hole they can't get out of, and I think that's what's going to happen this season. They could end up putting a better product out on the field. They could end up doing success. And you see, look at Texas. You look at Auburn. Now you can win 2 of those games, but where does that still put you? 4 wins, 5 wins, maybe at the max. It's just going to be, from the fans' perspective, are they seeing enough to where they feel like, okay, either Bobby Petrino can carry this on and build this program, or, hey, man, it was you did good by just stopping the bleeding. Now let somebody else take it over.
Mm-hmm. And I'll just give a quick shout out to some of the Vol Bros family that will be in the comments watching and everything. So really enjoyed our time Thursday.
Yeah,
so
that was awesome.
When we get them on in a little bit, we'll return the favor. But salvaging the season, I know there's still some folks that have aspirations of reeling off 4 out of these next 7 games, getting bowl eligible. I just feel like you've put yourself in too big of a hole with the 3 losses already, and then, losing the defensive staff and head coach. But maybe it's one of those things, we've heard since Coach Petrino's been here that Pittman wasn't going to basically have much say in the offense. He's going to let Bobby be Bobby, let him do his thing. But I think we've all seen there's been those times where the foot gets taken off the gas.
Mm-hmm.
And so, this is one of those perfect times that you're going to now be able to show us if that was the truth or not. Was that truly the case that Coach Pittman was holding Petrino back? And, we'll find out starting next Saturday, or this coming Saturday. I just don't know if you get into a situation, and I think Transplanting Texan asks here perfectly, will a simplified defense equal a more effective defense, and will a more effective defense equal a less stressed, frustrated offense? This is
loaded.
Something it is, but this is something that, we've totally put everything on the offense's shoulders because of how the defense performed. And I think it's one of those things that it kind of weighs on them a bit. They've got to work together in that sense, that the defense just can't allow quick scores. And especially, a team like Tennessee, they can score at any time. So this is something that I think that Tennessee and Arkansas both, because, both defenses are suspect, I don't think that either one of them can really allow the other team's offense to just come out in 2 to 3 plays and score, 2 to 3 plays and score. I think both teams ideally are going to want sustainable drives.
The thing with the simplified defense is you still got to get pressure on the quarterback. If you can't get pressure on the quarterback, and if you're running a simplified defense, basically man, zone, or you're basically just running somebody, don't mention the name, but somebody put out there about Barry Odom's 3 rush 3 drop 8 and how, oh my gosh, that was horrible. I mean, we got picked apart so many games, and the clickbaitish post of like, oh, the defense was horrible. And you see what that could be is if this is a base defense, you got to get pressure on the quarterback. If you do not get pressure on the quarterback, it is going to be a long night. But before I hand it back to you, I want to ask you, you were talking about Pittman holding Bobby Petrino back. And we all know Bobby Petrino is a nice guy, but I want to play devil's advocate, but yet throw it out there. What if Bobby Petrino was the one sandbagging and doing this to get the head coach job? And let's be real about if this is a possibility. And if he does that, and if he did kind of hold things back to get that job, now let's call it how it is. If you did that, what sacrifice did it take of the team and their record going into you getting the head coaching job? And is that what you want moving forward?
So we know that I am all about conspiracy theories.
There's one. When we did not discuss this before the show, so I'm throwing you one curveball conspiracy theory.
I do not believe in the sense that this was done on Petrino's part to run Pittman off. I do think that there's a possibility at times that, and I don't know this to be true or anything, this is just speculation on my part, that whatever conversations were had between Petrino and Pittman when it came to this offense, that maybe Petrino didn't speak up as much.
Yeah.
Wasn't as forceful. Wasn't as, hey, this is how I'm going to do things, whatever the case may be. And maybe that is something that came into play. Like, Pittman wanted to play more safe, wanted to play it more respectful to the other team, if you will. And Petrino just kind of went along with it. That's a strong possibility. Do I think that he purposefully maybe sabotaged things to get Pittman out early? I don't. Reason saying that is I think that no matter how the end of this season went, I think that it was Sam Pittman's time. However that looked at the end of the season, I think that it would have been done no matter what. And so then you just got to ask yourself, okay, so say we went out 6-6, because I'm not going to go too far off of our 5-7 prediction. Let's just say we got bowl eligible like last season. Let's say we went to our bowl game and won. I think that Petrino would have been in a better position. And when I say better, he wouldn't have had a hole to dig himself out of.
Yeah.
To where the keys could have just been handed over right then and there, no questions asked. So now Petrino has kind of put himself, Petrino has now been put into a hole to dig out of, and it's a mighty task ahead of him. If he comes out here and only wins 1 to 2 of the next 7, that's not enough for him to, in my opinion, be a strong candidate to be the next head coach. I just don't. I think that there would be too much at play, too much risk there for him to purposefully run off Sam Pittman.
Yeah, and that's where I'm leaning towards. Again, like you, unless he just comes in and runs this thing and they win 6-7 games, and I hate to use this, but I mean, for every rule there's an exception. I want to count the bowl game this year because with how difficult the schedule is remaining and how much of a hole they've dug themselves into, you kind of got to take that as part of your audition, because that's what games. So say you get bowl eligible and there's 8 games. So let's see how, because that'd be an important thing. How can he get his guys to play up in this bowl? Because that's going to be the telltale sign of how many of these players are going to play for him. Because, I mean, you're not looking at the score per se. You're going to know because the guys at that point can go into the portal. They can do this. They can go wherever they want to. And now you're going to see the true loyalty of who's coming back. How's the defense looked? Has Neyland Green improved his accuracy? Has the running backs stopped fumbling the ball? But I don't know. I just, we are conspiracy theorists. And I was thinking in my head, coming into the season, what we know this could have been a plan of, all right, we're bringing you in last year to kind of ease all the PR stuff of you're not just going to hire him back as the head coach. And I think that was a brilliant move on Hunter Yurchek, Bobby Petrino's end, because now that he's the head coach, not as much of it's being talked about like if this would have happened last year. But when you come into this and now Sam's gone, Bobby, I don't want the fans not necessarily setting them up for failure, but don't put too much into, especially this game when your opening act with how bad your defense is playing against probably, I don't know who the top offense in the country is, but if you're averaging 530 something yards a game and you're averaging 45 points a game, that's not something that you really want to look forward to as your opening game to prove that you deserve the head coaching job.
Mm-hmm. And, just last thing about the conspiracy theory too, I feel like that for that to truly have worked in that manner, that's one thing that you got to look at. Granted, it was only 5 games in, but with all the questions surrounding Neyland Green's ability, well, not really ability, because we know he has tremendous ability, but the things since last season that he's needed to work on, whether it's been timing, whether it's been accuracy, whether it's been decision making, doing something like that. I mean, Bobby didn't have a hand in necessarily like Neyland's thought, Neyland's inaccuracy, Neyland's decision making. Yeah, you work on that stuff in practice and whatnot, but you would have had to have had, I feel like, co-conspirators on the offense to be that abysmal in the second half. For it to work out like that. So I just don't see that being, being able to work out that way. But, these guys, let them go in and try to salvage whatever they can. Because at this point in time, like we talked about on Vol Bros, and like we talked about when this change was made, all these guys have left really is playing for each other, playing for the coaches that are there, playing for the University of Arkansas, and making something out of a dumpster fire. Mm-hmm. Because, there's a few of these guys, or several of these guys, they don't have any eligibility left. So this is it, Neyland Green being one of them. So it's one of those things that he's got to play balls to the wall for the next 7 games. All these issues that he's had with decision-making, inaccuracies, whatever else, you've got 7 games to figure that out, because your legs aren't going to be the only thing that can make you in the NFL. Like you've got to work on these things these next 7 games, because that's not going to get you past the combine.
Yeah, absolutely. Because look, you have a run game, you have tight ends you can throw to, you have wide receivers you can throw to, you have, and that's what's baffled me is, and unless again it's just the defensive adjusting in Arkansas, not. They've been able to get their tight ends open. They've been able to really open their arsenal and play. And it kind of just goes away. It's like, where's the tight ends? Where's these crossing patterns? Where's the deep threat to keep them honest? And you see that in the first half. So I think that's a big part of, I want to see that in the second half too. And even, look at the Notre Dame game. I mean, you should have been doing that anyway. And it's like they went to a base offense. All right, game's over with. Let's just go to a base offense. And then, that very last interception where we do it in the end zone. And it's like, I know when we talked about the Vol Bros, the rope was let go of. So I guess you're just out there kind of just half-assing it. But to me, you really need to come out, and if you, again, like Taylor Green, Bobby Petrino, this is one of them that we keep on telling the players. If you want to prove that you're doing this for Bobby, if you want to prove that you want Bobby to be here, this is your chance just as much as it's him proving to Arkansas he wants the job. You've got to show effort. We got to see it. You've got defensive coaches coming in that have NFL experience. Let's see how they do with a week and a half of adjustments. I know it's shortened because you're going on the road, but I think this will be the most intriguing game, and it might be the most watched game up to this point because they are just that intrigued. And this is nationwide. They're very intrigued on how Bobby is going to come in this first game. And I don't want it to end up like a Bill Belichick kind of deal where you're throwing him in North Carolina and then you look what happens there. So, and then we know there's a lot of John Gruden talk, and now they're, because of what Bill Belichick's doing in college, are like, see, this is why we don't need Gruden, you know? So it's one of those things that next week is a very important week, win or lose. I want to show more effort. I want to show that they can hang, and we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, this is one thing right here. It's like we've been saying, Taylon, you know, 2024, Taylon creeps back up. He starts getting focused on one wide receiver. He starts getting tunnel vision. He's not looking when he's not looking downfield when he's running. This is something that he's, you know, I don't know, the first couple of games of the season were cupcakes, if you will, and I'm not trying to take a shot at Arkansas State. But this is something that Taylon's got to show progression through more than just the first half of a game. So, well, you know, bringing up that, yes, this might be one of the most watched, if not, especially for Arkansas, the most watched game. Bobby Petrino back at the helm. Let's hope that it's for an entire game and not just the first half and everybody starts tuning out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick commercial break. After the break, we'll bring on Evan Pierce of the Vol Bros. Again, had a very good conversation. I really want to, before we'll bring it back up when he comes on, but one of the coolest fan interaction comment sections that we've ever been a part of on another show. So I can't wait to have them jump on our comment section and have us all interact. But after the break, we'll have Evan Pierce, the Vol Brothers. We'll be right back. Searching for premium brewery products that will take your daily routine to the next level? Look no further than Sterling Soap Company. Our handmade soaps, aftershaves, and balms are made with only the finest ingredients that give you the ultimate grooming experience. With a variety of scents to choose from, there's something for everyone. Plus, our products are crafted in small batches to ensure the highest level of quality. So why wait? Visit www.sterlingsoap.com or visit our retail store at 16 West Walnut Street in Paris, Arkansas. Shop our collection and discover the difference for yourself. Upgrade your grooming routine with Sterling Soap Company. Are you looking for a place to grab a cold drink and some delicious food? Look no further than Arkansas Brewing Company. Located at 201 South 1st Street in beautiful downtown Ozark, our establishment offers a wide selection of craft beers and tasty eats. But what sets us apart is our welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. At Arkansas Brewing Company, you'll always feel like part of the family. So visit Destiny and Christopher Brockett and staff today and see for yourself what makes us the go-to spot for locals and visitors alike. Arkansas Brewing Company, come for the drinks and stay for the friends. Attention DIYers and home improvement enthusiasts. Are you searching for the right tools and the supplies to tackle your next project? Look no further than Mentor's Hardware Store. With locations in Ozark, Alma, and Clarksville, our vast selection of hardware and building materials ensure to have everything you need, whether you're fixing a leaky faucet or building a new deck. Plus, our knowledgeable staff is always on hand to offer expert advice and guidance. And with our competitive prices and convenient online ordering, Mentor's Hardware Store is your one-stop shop for all your DIY needs. Visit us today and let's build something amazing together. Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Look no further than ATU Ozark Campus. As a 2-year satellite campus of Arkansas Tech University, we're dedicated to a quality workforce education, industry partnerships for in-demand jobs, and tailored paths for success. Our programs are led by industry professionals. Whether it's a certificate or you're aiming for a graduate degree, ATU Ozark has you covered. Visit our website at www.atu.edu/Ozark or contact us at 479-667-2117. Your future begins here. Welcome to Ozark Area Chamber of Commerce, where our mission is simple: encourage, promote, and aid an enduring environment of shared economic opportunity and civic development for the Ozark, Arkansas area. Whether you're a local business owner or a resident, we've got something for you. Shop our unique local businesses, explore the beauty of Ozark, and savor local flavors and find cozy accommodations. Join us in building a stronger community, and to learn more, contact us at 479-667-2525. Remember, together we thrive. And welcome back to the Hog Talk podcast. And we are now joined by Evan Pierce of the Vol Bros via the Meadows Lumber Hotline. And we're talking about the Arkansas-Tennessee game, where Arkansas is currently a 13.5-point underdog on the road in Knoxville via FanDuel. So first off, Evan, really appreciate you coming on. We had a blast on your show. So thank you for taking time to do us a solid and jump on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a lot of fun having you guys on Thursday night. Hopefully we can do it again in basketball season and baseball season and all kinds of fun. But my brother Rustin wishes he could be here. He, as our people who watch our show know, it's almost like where in the world is Carmen Sandiego. Rustin's traveling all the time, and so he'll show up. There's Mino Lackey. That she's one of our people. That's what I'm talking about. Jonathan's one of our folks too, and so Rustin, he's traveling all the time, and he's in Charlotte right now. And late last night, he found out that he was going to have to be in a meeting tonight at 7:30 Eastern, which kind of stinks because that's what time it is right now. And so even our show tonight, normally we go live at 9, and we're not going to be able to. We're going to have to wait until 9:30. Hopefully he's done by then. So it's just one of those things, unfortunately. I apologize he's not here. He apologizes, but I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And first, just to kick things off, 13.5-point underdog for Arkansas going into Tennessee. Did that surprise you with the line? Just really just with everything on the outside that Arkansas has been dealing with, coaching change and the defensive changes and struggles. Did it surprise you that it was pretty much a 14-2 score underdog going into Knoxville?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think it gives more street cred to Vegas or whoever came up with that spread, because I think it's pretty objective. When you look at this from the outside in, this should be a no-brainer, right? This should be my goodness, Arkansas's lost their head coach, their interim fired several other people. They're coming off a disappointing loss to Memphis, which they should have won, and then obviously what happened with Notre Dame. And so by all accounts, this should be an easy pick. But as a Tennessee fan, who's been a Tennessee fan for multiple decades now, I've seen too much. And, I vividly remember the 6 overtime game. Every time Tennessee and Arkansas play each other, it is always close. Always. Last year was close. It shouldn't have been, but it was, and Tennessee lost. I remember the Sterner stumble and fumble. I remember watching that game. Rustin was actually, my brother was at that game actually. I remember the 6 overtime game, and as we mentioned on our show Thursday night, I remember, Mina, like you said, it's BVS, it's battered Vol syndrome. That's exactly what it is. And I remember, I can't remember what year it was. I think it's like 2013 or something like that. It was at Arkansas. Tennessee punted the ball to Arkansas, and Tennessee missed 13 tackles on one play. Now, I invite you to do the math. There's only 11 dudes on the field wearing orange, okay? So to miss 13 tackles, everybody had to miss one, and then some dudes missed them twice. I mean, like it was like a kick in the crotch to us. I mean, like it was horrible, but I'm pretty sure that was in the Derek Dooley era. So it's probably 2012 actually, but here we are in 2025, and hopefully things are going to be a little bit different.
I don't know if you caught any of the games around the country yesterday, but one that obviously stood out a little bit was UCLA and Penn State. I just wanted to get your quick thoughts on Nico's win there.
My, oh my, what a difference a day makes, huh? It was interesting. Here's the thing. Nico was the unfortunate recipient of terrible advice. And unfortunately for Nico, he listened to that advice. It was interesting. It was about money. That's the bottom line. It was about money. And when he left, his family tried to make it about, well, he needed to surround himself with a better supporting cast. Well, clearly that was a great choice then to go to UCLA. I saw a stat after the first couple weeks of the season. It listed the top 5 quarterbacks as far as amount of pressures, percentage of plays being pressured across the entire country. Number 1 on the list was Nico Iamaleava. He was being pressured 66% of the time he dropped back to pass. So 2/3 of the time he dropped back to pass, he was getting hit. So, I mean, you obviously can't put it all on him because who could survive that? You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, I was happy for him that he did well yesterday. We might get to this in a moment, but trust me, I think Tennessee was the much better recipient of that trade than UCLA was.
Well, and we're seeing it too. You look at Nico, then you look at DJ, started out at Clemson, then he went to Oregon State, then he went, and you see how with each team, and I'm not saying he was good at Clemson, but with each team, he got worse. And we're kind of, it's almost like we're seeing a travel ball-esque type deal in college football. So that is a very touchy subject because, I mean, you are dealing with parents and kids, and how do you try to intervene in that situation without, ruffling feathers? But at the same point, it's almost like, look, you let them do their thing. And if it don't work out, it don't, because it's one of those situations where you feel like you're protecting your children, but you're hurting them worse, because not just the money. We can take the money situation out of it, because you're not teaching them to stick somewhere or you can go grab money here, when if you just stay where you're at, I mean, really, if Nico would have just kept his head on straight and stayed at Tennessee, not saying he would have been better than Aguilar, but I think without that added pressure from home, you're dealing with social media pressure. You're dealing with college NIL pressure. There's no break. And I just feel for these kids that, you could sit there and it's easy to kick them while they're down and say, well, you're making all these. I wouldn't want those problems, to be honest.
For sure.
It's not enough money but we're seeing it happen more and more. And it's almost like you can give these kids so much money, but you got to have some kind of a get back coach per se for some of these kids.
Well, and to Joey's credit, he's been placed in a tremendous position right now, because for any of your viewers who may not know, Tennessee's offensive quarterbacks room, I would love to be a fly on the wall in that room right now, because there are 5 offensive minds in that room that anybody would love to have running their offense. You've got Josh Heupel, Joey Halsley, obviously, but then you've got Seth Littrell and Landry Jones, both as offensive analysts. And now we found out a couple weeks ago, Jim Chaney has been working as an offensive analyst with Tennessee for the last several months. So you've got 5 brilliant quarterback minds in that room. No wonder Joey's having the success that he's having. And unfortunately for Nico, he left that situation. And because when he was here, it was just Heupel and Halsley. So now we've got 3 more guys that would be really making Nico better. And I mean, imagine if you're an NFL team, look what happened to Shadur Sanders.
Yep.
You're not going to want to draft that guy, knowing that his dad's going to be trying to negotiate contracts for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
How much revenge do you feel on the side of Tennessee, Coach Heupel, or is it just going to be, business as usual? They're not worried about last season. What's the mindset going into this coming Saturday?
Well, so I'll give you one really good piece of insight knowledge here about Josh Heupel. Don't believe a word he says ever. He is the master at saying a lot without saying anything. And that's like, just so your fans know, injury rumors and reports and stuff, Yeah, don't believe a single word of that from anything with the Tennessee Athletic Department because none of it's accurate intentionally. I'll give you a prime example. Last year, at the end of it was like the second 2 or 3 games left in the season, Dante Thornton Jr., one of our wide receivers, gets injured and he's limping off the field. Like camera zooms in on him, clearly injured. He's struggling to get off the field. It was reported on the sideline as an upper body injury. I'm like, really? Because he was limping. Like that's typically not your leg. Your upper body's not considered your leg. But I mean, like they are notorious for saying nothing. And so I say that because when you hear Josh Heupel say in a press conference all week this week, you know, this is just the next game on schedule. We got to go out and play. Yeah, that means nothing. We know that means nothing because what we've seen from him for the last 4 years, every time he's got a revenge game or something like that, there's a little bit something extra there.
Yeah.
Every time. A prime example, this whole season, they've been saying, no, we're not, you know, they start out the season with Syracuse and then ETSU, East Tennessee State University, and then Georgia comes to town. And, you know, oh, no, we're not looking ahead. It's one game at a time, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then 10 of the first 12 plays they ran on offense, they hadn't run all season yet against Georgia. I mean, clearly they were saving those for Georgia. You know what I'm saying? So there will be some stuff that, I mean, my goodness, we saw stuff last week that we hadn't seen them run yet this year. So there's going to be some stuff Saturday, that we see Tennessee run that they have not shown yet this year. And, you know, it's exciting for us because we're like, what are we going to get to see? But yeah, this will mean a little bit more to him.
Yeah. And we're seeing, you know, look, Sark's done it with Arch. There's nothing wrong with him. He's fine. And of course, you know what Lane Kiffin's his shenanigans about the quarterback situation. You know, he's pulled, I mean, leading up to the Arkansas game and it's one of those things that, but there's no accountability. Like the SEC comes out with these rules about your availability report and you have these and you see these blatant kind of just middle finger in the air. Like we're still going to do what we want to do, but there's still no accountability. So you're all going to see it, but it's gameplay. In the SEC, you have to do that. I don't know if it really even works, but it's mind games. But coming into this bye week situation, I really am intrigued to hear, you know, Arkansas didn't just make a coaching change in a bye week with somebody that got a promotion or well, I will say that, but you'll get what I'm getting at here in a second. Not somebody that nobody's ever heard of and elevating them. You're talking about Bobby Petrino. So that gives Tennessee a week extra to prepare just as much as it gives Arkansas an extra week to prepare for Tennessee. How much do you think that helps Tennessee knowing you had a bye? Each team has a bye week and Heupel's familiarity with Bobby Petrino, Chaney's familiarity with Bobby Petrino, because you know on the defense side they're going to be base. So look, let's just stop them. What's their plan of attack coming into this game?
Well, that's a fantastic question. And, you know, normally I think since Heupel's been at Tennessee, he has lost one time coming off a bye week. That's it. Normally he is very, very good coming out of bye week, particularly the opening possession of the game. Don't be surprised if Tennessee goes. I mean, listen, when Georgia came to town, the reason that Tennessee went straight down the field against them and scored easily in the first drive was because, like I said, 10 of the first 12 plays, they hadn't even run yet this year. And so there was no film on that. I would not be surprised. You know, Tennessee always gets off to a hot start. The second quarter, they struggle to score. And then they come back in the third and the fourth quarter and put it back on again. So don't be surprised if Tennessee jumps out to a quick lead and then Arkansas gets right back in it in the second quarter. That's been kind of the MO for Tennessee this year. And normally with Heupel's success off of bye weeks, I would typically give that advantage to Tennessee, but I don't this week. I give that to Arkansas because, like you said, first of all, Bobby Petrino is an excellent football mind. He proved it in multiple destinations or multiple locations as head coach. He is a fantastic football mind. Clearly, he had a vision for their defense that he wants he probably think Chris Wilson's the guy he promoted to defensive coordinator. He wants those guys to implement. The problem for Tennessee is, I mean, yeah, there is film, but is there film? I mean, like, that's the question. I mean, yeah, we've got, several games to go off of this year, but is that the same Arkansas team schematically that's going to step on the field in Neyland? I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah.
And so with an extra week to prepare, that's a good, that's obviously good for Arkansas. I think the nod goes, as far as the bye week goes, to Arkansas, because that gives them that much more time to gather themselves. Man, with all the changes, they needed that extra week.
Yeah.
I think you'll see a spirited Arkansas team step on the field this Saturday.
If you were a betting man, would you take the points or the spread in this? I think the points are 69.5.
Well, my score prediction would equal 72 points.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely do that. I do not think Tennessee wins by 13 points. I don't think they do. I think it's going to be, you want to know my score prediction for this Saturday?
Yeah.
So Tennessee's offense, they're currently averaging 45.8 points per game. So 46 points a game. They put up 41 points on Georgia. They can score some points. Do I think Arkansas scores enough points to hang with them? No. I think it's probably going to end up like 41-31 Tennessee. And I think it's going to feel a lot closer than that.
Yeah.
I think that Tennessee, listen, I try to be as unbiased as I can. I'm trying to take off I know my shirt says Vol Bros, but I'm trying to take off my orange colored glasses here for a second. Tennessee's offense, the offense you saw last year, is not the same offense that's going to step on the field Saturday. The offense you saw last year was a scared offense. And by that, I mean, Heupel did not trust Nico to be able to take care of the ball and make proper decisions. Nico got in a terrible habit of, look at the first read. If it's not there, I'm gone. I'm taking off.
Sounds very similar to our situation. I mean, it really does,
Yeah, I'll put it this way. Second game of the season, or maybe it was the first game of the season. Joey drops back to pass. He's looking to his left. It's not open. All of a sudden, he turns shoulders and head, looks to the right, and throws a touchdown pass. And all Nation was like, whoa, that's allowed? Like, we can do that? I mean, what just happened?
Yeah.
We went to like the third read on a progression and we hit oh my goodness, we saw more formation, to forget plays. We saw more formations in the first game of the season at Syracuse than we saw the whole season last year combined. No exaggeration. The difference this year is Heupel trusts Joey. And that is a huge difference.
So you gave your score prediction, and let's say that holds up. Arkansas gives up 41, but they score 31 on Tennessee. And what do you think that does to the momentum? And I don't know if you're familiar with Arkansas's schedule post Tennessee, but after Tennessee, they have A&M, Auburn, and Mississippi State. If they hang and they keep true to this 14-point spread and they come out, play on fire, how do you think that motivates this team to play up moving forward and could steal some wins on down the road?
If they score 31 points against A&M, they beat them. Because that was not an impressive A&M team on the field last night. And let's give credit to Mississippi State. Mississippi State, they're a good team too.
Mm-hmm.
But I was shocked that, first of all, Mississippi State didn't put up more points on A&M. And secondly, A&M didn't put up more points on Mississippi State. I was surprised by both of those things. That was it was 7-3 in the fourth quarter, I think. Like, it was a very low scoring game. So can Arkansas beat both of those teams? Yes, they can. If Bobby Petrino, has a stereotypical Bobby Petrino offense and puts up some points. So could they win? No, sure, absolutely. But one thing, my goodness, y'all, the last 2 weeks have proven to win in the SEC, any win is a good win because every single team is a good team.
Yeah.
What one thing for each team? What do they have to do if they want to win on Saturday?
Ooh, that's a great question. Well, I know people are probably going to hear this and be like, "Oh, it's just a Tennessee fan saying that." I get that, but Neyland is different, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, it just is. Like, it is literally the loudest stadium in the history of football, not college football, all of football. That record was set in 2022 on the opening play of the game against Georgia. Tennessee had a 75-yard touchdown run, and they hit 137 decibels. It's the loudest stadium in recorded history. If you want to read something fun, go find the comments from Baker Mayfield and his center from 2015 after the Tennessee-Oklahoma game in 2015. It is incredible what the offensive lineman says about Neyland Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
It is amazing what he says. So if Arkansas wants to win the game, they have to start fast. They can't let Neyland get loud, because once the offensive lineman described it as an oppressive force.
Yeah.
You can't let them get loud. You got to keep them quiet, or they will impact the game. That's just the reality of it. Interestingly, I mentioned that about I say this to back what up what I just said, but they said, rumor is Jermon McCoy is going to be back this week. Going into this season, everybody's talking about how Tennessee's defense is their weak part right now. Listen, going into the season, the defense was going to be the strong point of the whole team again. It was supposed to be better than last year's defense. And then injuries just pummeled them. Kirk Herbstreit, week 1 on College Game Day, said, Tennessee probably has the best 2 starting corners in the country with Jermon McCoy and Ricky Gibson, that duo. Neither one has played since. Ricky played one half of the Syracuse game, got injured, and is probably now out for the season. Jermod's recovering from a torn ACL. He's supposed to be back this week. But, anytime you can get he was projected to be a top 10 draft pick this year. Anytime you can get one of those dudes back on defense, that's a good thing, And so, will he be back? Who knows? But in order for Arkansas to jump out quickly, they only really have 2 options, and that's to pick on Ty Redmond, who's a true freshman, a corner. That's who Georgia went after all game long. And to his credit, the dude played really, really well for his 3rd game as a collegiate athlete. I'll give him credit for that. They got to go after him, and they got to try to confuse Boo Carter. Boo Carter will be in at the start quite a bit. Anytime Boo comes in the game, Boo is a headhunter. Anytime he comes in the game, I can probably almost guarantee you he's coming in for like a safety blitz or something like that. He is not the best cover man in the secondary. And so those 2 ways are how you can get to Tennessee's defense. As far as what Tennessee needs to do, let the offense cook, baby. That's, everybody talks about Joey, and rightfully so. Tennessee's backfield, there's a 3-headed monster back there that does not get the credit it deserves. Deshaun Bishop, Star Thomas, who's a transfer from Duke, and Peyton Lewis. the three dudes are, and they're fantastic. And I think if Arkansas fans haven't got to see them play yet this year, I think that they're going to be pleasantly surprised at how good those, or not pleasantly surprised, but unfortunately surprised at how good those three dudes are. So I mean, that's the thing. You know, Tennessee's given up one, I think maybe 2 sacks all season long. Their offensive line was a big question mark going into this game. I think that or going into the season, they're a big question mark, and they've proven to be fantastic. So you got to like Tennessee's chances, but it's Tennessee, Arkansas, and literally anything can happen. So hopefully we don't have another 13 missed tackle play on the day.
Well, and what gets you out of here on this, you know, talking about, you know, you're talking about Neyland and it's different in the fans. Do you think that Arkansas firing the head coach, coming in limping, do you think that is kind of hindered the fan turnout per se, or the electric atmosphere, or do you see, and I think we talked about this on y'all's show, was, you know, Tennessee's trying to get to that next level. They're trying to be a championship caliber team. So is that full focus, and they're not really worried about what team comes in? They're really truly worried about getting to the college football playoff.
I'll put it this way. The fact that Petrino is now the interim, he's going to be the guy in my opinion, but the fact that he's now the head coach, listen, the student section is in the corner of the end zone near the Arkansas sideline. There will be people who have researched a lot of the dudes that are going to be standing near them, and they're going to be talking to them the whole game. I mean, that don't give them fuel, you know. I mean, like, don't give them stuff to go look up and find out. We had a guy on our show one time. He actually was a first baseman for Appalachian State, and he played at Tennessee. Appy State came to Tennessee for a game, and the student section lined down the first baseline on the baseball field. And he said they had researched his family's names, specifically his sister, his girlfriend's name. And he said some of the stuff they were saying, like, he couldn't repeat, you know, I mean, like, it was unbelievable. What, so I, you know, obviously I don't condone that, but they're already going to be fired up. They didn't need more ammunition to use and get more fired up. That, you know, it's going to be, it'll be an electric atmosphere. It always is. If your fans haven't been to Neyland ever, I would say once in your life, just one time, that's all you need. I would recommend going and just seeing what it's like. Because listen, I know I'm a Tennessee guy, but it's different. I mean, it just is. You got 20 to 40,000 people showing up for the Vol Walk. You know, I mean, like, it's Joe, there's a cool video of Joey, his first Vol Walk, and there's like tens of thousands of people there, you know, and he's just walking down the street with his phone, like going like this, like videoing the, because he was shocked. He never seen anything like that before. It's a really cool atmosphere. It's a really cool experience. I apologize in advance if people say and do stuff they shouldn't do, but it's an experience. I'll put it that way.
Well, Evan, we really, really appreciate your time for hopping on. You'll have to give Rustin, you know, let him know he missed out big time on joining. So we appreciate you bringing your fans with us. It's been a really good experience. And, you know, we're hoping here on Arkansas side, we're just hoping that both teams have fun. You know,
like I said,
you know, we see the progression. So, but
closer than the experts think. I think that's the story for Saturday.
All right. We really appreciate you coming on, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. I appreciate you guys.
And that was Evan Pierce of Vol Bros. Yeah, it's going to be intriguing to see the atmosphere, how prepared they are. I know the Bobby Petrino side of it's going to give them more fuel, but if you're Arkansas, you know, you're playing with house money. You're going into this game. Everybody's not laughing at you, but nobody's going to give you a chance at this. I know the line's 13.5, but there's going to be hardly anybody that gives Arkansas a chance to win this game. So see what type of team shows up and if they can shock the world, if they can do something on the road that really boosts, Bobby's case of why he should be the head coach.
Yeah, we'll see what happens this weekend. You just hope for the best. That's all you can do at this point. And it's one of those things that hopefully, we can have another collab here with Fall Pros. I think Arkansas and Tennessee play January 3rd in basketball. Unfortunately, the SEC screwed up and we aren't playing each other in the regular season in baseball. So that should be a yearly game. But, basketball wise, I'm looking for some redemption after the blowout loss in Knoxville last season. So it's one of those when Arkansas and Tennessee play, there's a lot of good and bad blood out there when it comes to it.
Well, the Arkansas game, 3:15. It will be on the SEC network and via FanDuel. The opening odds, 13.5 point underdog, 69.5. So by their odds, we're looking at a high scoring, close game. So we'll see what everybody has to say. Kind of take a not a jab, but a line from the ex-head coach. Just put the ball out there and see what happens.
That's all you can do at this point. I mean, you've literally got nothing else to lose. So just go out there and show up and show out.
Yep. Well, Adam, you'll be back with the boys, 8:05 Hog HQ. We will be back Thursday. No show tonight.
Okay. No, since it's a bye week, no show tonight.
Bye week. So they did their own bye week. So again, want to thank everybody. Want to thank the Tennessee crowd for joining the show tonight. Much welcome, much appreciated. And we will be back on Thursday, not at Thursday. On Thursday, 6:05. Thanks for everybody tuning in. All of our sponsors, FanDuel, Believe, and we'll catch you on Thursday.